absolutely verklempt to talk with you, even virtually. You're a hero of mine in cinema. So
well, thank you, appreciate that.
I'm going to be nail biting and stuttering all through this.
Oh, I don't think so. I think you're. Okay.
Congratulations, first of all, on the new film, Time Crafters. I know you're like a super busy guy and doing a lot of stuff, but that's
I was a super busy guy, but nobody's really doing a lot of stuff at the moment. However, it was a sweet little script, and I'd never played a pirate before, and it's always I've always been intrigued. It's like I've never played a gunslinger either. Well, I'm too old for that now, but I could play in a Western, but I never have. I suppose I'm just too English or something. But of course, the West was pioneered initially with the Irish and English and Germans. So anyway, as I say, I have youngish kids. They're 11 and 13, two of them. And I figured something that they could watch,
Well, even younger than that, because I've got grandkids that are 4 and 5, and this is just one of those great fantasy action films that I grew up watching. I go back to Treasure Island and.
Well, Treasure Island's one of my favorites. Jim Lai. One of the great Robert Newton, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and Long John Silver, he was absolutely brilliant. And I saw that when I was a schoolboy. And it's such a wonderfully adventure romantic film. And I mean romantic in terms of the sea, the ships and the whole thing. It was great. It was great.
For me, it goes back to almost a literary time where we were reading, the Horatio Hornblower series and,
Oh, yes.
I fell in love with great sea adventure stories, Moby Dick, which the 20,000
Moby Dick. Well, that's of course a great classic, and it's a pretty good film too. John Huston, of course, with a script.
Wells.
You know who did the script?
I believe it was science fiction writer Ray Bradbury.
Yes, absolutely. I know. It was Ray, and he was a friend of mine.
Really?
Dear man. Yeah, dear man.
I met Ray several times at my aunt's. My aunt was June Foray, the voice actress.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we had known Ray, through a lot of works and stuff, and of course, it was.
I knew him. I met him through a mutual friend, but he was fascinated and wanted to talk to me, and because I played H.G. Wells
time after time.
Yes, time after time, and he kind of figured that he was like the American H.G. Wells, and I turned around and said, "No, I think, Ray, that you are the American Jules Verne." He said, "Oh, well, that's even better." Yeah, he was a terrific guy. I got to know him very late in his life, but I'm so thrilled I did.
Yeah, he had a fear of flying, that he would travel just by train or by car everywhere.
Well, he had that in common with Kubrick.
Yeah.
And Kubrick had a private pilot's license. So he could even fly a plane, but he was terrified.
As I looked at the history of your films, I mean, I pick out several of my favorites. Oh, Lucky Man, first of all, is one of the first films that ever spoke to me to say, this is cinema. This is great storytelling.
Well, it's cinema as an art form, as opposed to because the ideas are sort of they're not new. There's no ideas that are new, but the ideas are not usually in movies. It's what we call that film. Lindsay Anderson, who's a brilliant director who made it, called it a picaresque movie. And I said, well, what is there another movie that's picaresque that I can look at? And he said, yes, it's Sullivan's Tales. Sullivan's Travels,
yeah.
Travels, which is true. Who directed it?
Capra, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't Capra.
Christian Nyby?
No.
We'll have to look it up.
Yeah, but anyway, And when I saw it, I understood. I know because I was writing the script. I wrote it with. In fact, I used to be a coffee salesman. That's what it stemmed from, the original idea. And then I worked with the writer who had written If, which was my first film, and was a brilliant film. One of the best films I think I was ever in, and it was my first one. And it was just great to work with the great Lindsay Anderson again. You know, I did 3 films. I worked in the theater a lot with him, and he was a brilliant theater director. He was a brilliant director, full stop. But a very great friend and a great man, you know.
Do you crisscross like that with a lot of people, working with them on stage and then in motion pictures and then to television? I would imagine.
No, because Kubrick never did a play. He wasn't interested in the theater at all. That wasn't his expertise. You know, he would have been fine working at Panavision in the lens department, you know, or anything that was pushing the boundaries of movies. Technically, he was a genius. I mean, what he did on 2001 is just unheard of. I mean, he took science fiction on a millennium jump. And it was just an amazing feat of work that he did. And they were all models, there was no computer stuff. And it was really quite amazing.
It was a breathtaking film. And so is A Clockwork Orange. I mean,
yeah,
I re-examined it, you know, and we just lost David Prowse, who
I know
played the bodybuilder in that.
I know. Well, David told me that he went in, to see George Lucas and about this other film that they had that was at Elstree, and he told him, well, I've just been working with Stanley Kubrick. And they went, oh, come in. And he didn't have to do anything. And when he read the script, he couldn't believe what a great part it was. And of course, I guess he thought that he'd be doing the voice, and he was rather disappointed to find that he wasn't. He was just the look. But take nothing away from him. The look is amazing, and just the way he moves is amazing.
Yeah.
So he's pretty cool.
He was a dear friend of mine as well, and I miss him every day. What a gentle giant he was.
Yeah, exactly.
I also want to bring up Moon 44 because it's one of those films that nobody ever talks about, but it is such a brilliant film.
I think it is. And, it was Roland's first movie, basically. And it was a brilliant idea, doing this. And, to take science fiction and have a rusty old ship that's falling apart. It was just the antithesis of everything you think about as being science fiction, and space travel and all that. So that was really, it was a terrific, he was really obviously very talented. But,
amazing man. And one of my best friends is Dean Devlin, who
Dean, wow. Movie. He was an actor in that movie, and he's suddenly producing and co-writing everything. And he did a great job too,
Yeah, so I mean, again, Oh Lucky Man should be seen, obviously. Moon 44, A Clockwork Orange, if you haven't seen it, these are just breathtaking movies, all of them. And you do such a great job in them.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to add to that If, because I think that is
If
a spectacular movie that Kubrick saw and cast me just from seeing the movie. Before he ever met me, he knew I was going to play the part. And, I made some interesting movies in Russia, actually. One of them particularly called The Assassin of the Tsar, which was directed by a brilliant Russian director called Karen Shekhnazarov, who is now running Mosfilm in Moscow. Wow. And it's a stunning movie. It's about, of course, the end of the Romanovs. But being Russians, it's not just a biopic about, the Romanovs and their death and all that in 1917. It starts off contemporary Russia in a mental institution with this inmate who claims to be the Tsar killer. And a young doctor comes and takes up his case, and they have this kind of chess match going on in these interviews. And then suddenly, click, you're back to 1917. The doctor becomes the Tsar, and the patient becomes Yurovsky, who was the Tsar killer. And, you know, the Russians consider that to be execution by the state.
Mhm.
You know, we call it murder, but they went, no, was sanctioned by Lenin himself.
It sounds twistedly wonderful.
It's a brilliant movie, actually. I had to go to Russia for a long time in 1990, and it was totally fascinating. And of course, I went to Fortnum and Mason and stocked up on tinned goods because there was very little to eat, but they were so generous to me. It was really amazing. I had a great time.
Were you taken back by the amount of fandom there is for Star Trek? Because, you know, playing Surin in that movie must have catapulted you into all of the conventions and everything.
To be honest with you, I turned it down a couple of times. And I went, no, I'm not going to do it. I don't give a damn. I've never even seen the show, you know. But because they didn't want to pay me, you know. So I said, I'm not doing this. I'm not a charity for these people. What the heck? This franchise earns a fortune.
Yeah.
Anyway, they came up, so I did it. And I had such a great time. It was a wonderful director, David Carson, who I'm actually going to do another movie with. So it was a good meeting, and I had a lot of fun working, of course, with the two captains, who I teased a lot, and they of course teased me in return. But it was fun to see Patrick Stewart. I hadn't worked with him since the early '60s at Stratford, or mid '60s probably. We were both in the company at the same time. Well, he was there for 12 years, I think. I was only there for 18 months. I'd had enough by then. But a very nice guy, and of course, very talented. And then you've got Shatner, who, what can you say about him? He's just
what can you say?
He's one of these extraordinary. I'm so happy I got to work with him and meet him, and really I like him a lot. I thought he was so professional on set, so precise, so he's a very good actor, you know.
Well, he's a showman too. He knows how to promote Shatner.
Oh yeah.
But you guys, you three in that film, you all have that stage back of the Shakespearean background as well. Do you miss live theater, Malcolm?
Do I miss it? Well, I of course I miss performing in front of an audience, because there's really nothing better than having the audience tell you instantly whether you're doing the right thing or not. And there's so much energy you get from a live audience, of course. But getting there and doing it, I don't miss that. The learning of the part, which, you know, you can't just do 3 minutes a day. You've got to really get down to it. And the rehearsing period's almost more fun than the performance. But then, and you think, oh, it's great. I'm only working, 7:30 till 10 or 10:30, and then I've got my evenings and I've got them all day. It's just not. That's not the way it works. Yeah. You wake up really late because you can't go to sleep after a performance because the juices are still flowing, the adrenaline is kicking in, and so you end up going to bed around 2 or 3 in the morning. You don't get up till 10, 11. And then you think, oh, I've got to eat now because I don't want to be full stomach working. And so the whole day is geared up to this thing. And that's it. There's no time to socialize that you think, oh, it's great. I'll even have the children come up. Forget it. Doesn't work that way. But do I miss it? Yes, of course. Because, I'm a stage actor at heart and started off that way.
I really want to thank you for your time today. This has meant so much to me because you represent a lot of my favorite movies. You know, there's a few actors I in my life that I've always wanted to sit down and chat with. Roddy McDowell, who passed a while ago.
Oh, yes.
And you know, Time After Time is one of those movies that is so dear to me. You know, so wonderfully done, and my kids have discovered it, and my grandkids are now discovering it. It is
Oh, that's
just a
good.
charming movie.
It is. It's beautifully done. Beautiful script by Nick Meyer, who directed it, and it's actually his. I think it was the first movie he directed. It's a pretty damn good movie to do for your first one. And
Yeah, they had a limited series based on it, and it wasn't as good as the movie, to be honest.
No, I didn't see it, so I can't really comment on it. But it didn't last very long. But the movie, even though when it first came out, did not do the box office they wanted, because actually they sold it as a Jack the Ripper sort of chase movie thing, which was ridiculous. It's a love story. You know, that's what it is. And the fact of these wonderful Victorian elements come to, you know, modern day San Francisco. It's just a beautiful idea.
Yeah.
And then, you know, great scenes with David. You know, I love the one where he's flicking through channels going, "You're so naive, you know, HG, look at this. This is violence. I'm not violent. This is," and he's pointing to the television and you're seeing the Vietnam War and the whole thing.
And there's tears going down your cheeks at that moment, you know, because you realize that utopia is only a dream.
Yes.
But anyway, I just adore you so much. You're again, this meant so much to me. Thank you so much. And again, back to Time Crafters. What a great role, getting back to that kind of hand-wringing villain, you know, that that kids
the
love.
twirling mustache.
Yeah. You know, but it's so perfect for kids.
Thank you so much. Listen, it's also very nice to talk to you, so I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it too. You have a wonderful day. Happy holidays to you and your family. And
you too. Stay safe.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
This celebrity interview is sponsored by...
I'm Annette Civarella with Pia Anderson Moss Hoyt, Utah's leading entertainment law firm, serving clients nationwide. We provide solid, attentive representation focusing on minimizing risk, reducing cost, and protecting the reputation and privacy of our clients. Our goal is to provide you with the legal representation you need to make the right decisions and to protect you and your creative works. Call or email me for a free consultation.